My teammates, Roger, Jean, and Anirudh, will be presenting information regarding investigated data from the OkCupid users. So a little bit about OkCupid. We know that OkCupid is an online dating, friendship, and social networking platform that features multiple choice questions in order to match members according to their preferences. So our goal is to provide the marketing function with insights, understanding, and business intelligence to inform future strategies. To start off, we've adopted an EDA approach where we combine the data with other external data available to us, examine the data to establish its completeness, characteristics, and usefulness, clean the data to remove variables with large amounts of missing data and filled in other gaps, and then finally created a bunch of visualizations to see observations once the team was satisfied with their improved data frame. These following 4 observations will be presented later.
In terms of the data that was provided, we did get that in terms of the overall profile that was presented to us. The additional data containing location by postal code gave us state, city, and county information. The census data provided ethnic, household, and homeowner information by location. Combining these data sources with the internal profile data provided the possibility to geomap the characteristics of the data. Moving on, using a series of data exploration techniques, we were able to establish the completeness of the data. The graph in this slide, as well as the ones in the following slides, illustrate our findings. For example, 80% of the income data is missing, and many observations are missing data. However, we made use of only those that we deemed relevant and significant to the OkCupid marketing strategy. Rogers will now take on.
Awesome. So for us to move forward, we need to find correlations between these variables. And so because we have most of our columns in this data set, what we call the data frame, coming in as factors, we wanted to convert them to numeric in order to get the correlation plot. We converted all the variables in the data frame to numerical integer. And if you're interested, you'll be able to look at some of the interesting piece of code that we wrote. And we came up with some very interesting observations here. What you're able to see is that there's a predominantly negative correlation between most variables. What stands out though is height and sex have strong correlation of 62%, and offspring and age have also a correlation of 43%. And further still, we find that age and income, irrespective of the fact that income did not have a lot of variables, it also has a correlation which is positive. So there's much to be desired there and to learn. But to continue on that as well, we decided that we needed to clean up this data so that we could understand it further. Now, this data set had a lot of missing components. We ran a small piece of code that will be able to identify which features had a large number of missing variables. And as you may see, we have income, which has almost 80%, and then offspring, which is about 60%. And then we also decided to drop that because it wasn't really telling for us. So all in all, we removed rows as well that have more than 70% values missing, and those were 6 rows in total that were removed. Now, SAO was also removed because we didn't really find it very useful, and it didn't give us a lot of context in that regard. So we further, after cleaning this data, we decided to run a little bit of map so that we make it exciting and more informative for you guys. We did some of the new tactics that you guys have just taught us in class, how to come up with your graphical spread. As you may see, we have this wonderful map of San Francisco, actually California, but in our analysis, it comes out that most of the OkCupid users are actually concentrated in San Francisco and San Jose, which is a very interesting finding for us. And also the plot on the side, we're also going to tell you that ethnicity is highly populated in each location. From the second graph, which is map ethnic data from the census, it's clear that the white, Asians, and Black are highly populated in San Francisco and San Jose. And these are predominantly the users of OkCupid. So as we go further, we'll be able to learn more with this. I guess I'll be passing on this torch to my colleague Kopal.
Hi everyone. So our second observation was looking at gender versus people's sexual orientation and what they identify themselves as. So we see that majority of the members in OkCupid are straight men. So what does this say about straight women and the LGBT people and their level of comfort or interest in OkCupid? Or perhaps people were open to their sexuality in 2011 and women were less interested in dating than men were. So as you can see to the graph onto our right, the gender and the sexual orientation data is interesting because it shows that it's predominantly made up of straight men. So this causes potential issues since we have a skewed membership for straight men when it comes to data application. So further investigation will be conducted to understand why there's significantly fewer women involved. And in addition, the LGBT community, as you can see, is not as active in 2011 and should be warranted to inform the business model going forward. And now I'm going to pass it on to Anirudh for observation 3.
Thanks, Kopal. Moving on, we just were thinking of ethnicity, religion, and culture and how it influences dating in general. And the OkCupid data that we were provided with gave us some very interesting insights and raised questions about cultural norms, especially with respect to dating and marriage amongst different religions. We were able to conclude that in many religions, such as Hinduism and Islam, as well as amongst some cultures, dating is not the norm, while arranged marriages are. This is something that OkCupid marketing needs to consider while designing future marketing campaigns, either using targeting or clustering. And I think the graphs are very informative of the same thing. Passing it on to Jean now to think about the next observations.
So I suppose our final observation really is in relation to the data itself. And we're posing the question, is this data actually fit for purpose, and particularly for the purpose of providing business intelligence to the marketing function? We observe, for example, that the members of OkCupid are tending towards some type of idealized persona. We're very much seeing people saying they're a kind of an average fit body type who eat anything, only drink socially, and don't smoke or do drugs. Even with respect to religion, they mostly choose the "but not too serious about it" qualifier. On the next couple of slides, you can see this is illustrated in that it doesn't change either by ethnicity or by age. So we're seeing people of all ages, ethnicities, and gender typing towards this kind of stereotypical, maybe idealized partner. And we can see this again in relation to body types, smoking. There's no real change in the way that's typing. So to conclude our presentation then, we wanted to maybe look at sort of future considerations. The data set is quite homogeneous. It's largely typing around white, straight men, not representative at all of the ethnicity, the ethnic mix and the gender mix and orientation mix indeed that you would expect for a dating application. We feel that it's not currently fit for purpose for the marketing department, but we provided some pointers towards enriching it to make it a better fit. By enriching the data with information already available internally, such as, for example, premium subscription data. So we noticed that there is a premium subscription option in OkCupid, but we haven't been provided with any of that data. We also think that possibly triangulating the existing data against maybe publicly available sources and perhaps also buying income, for example, or other validated information could make the data we have much more useful. While we dropped the essay data out for the purpose of this particular exercise, we feel that text mining on this could actually be incredibly useful for future business intelligence to inform the marketing department. And it could be a very insightful source of rich information. So we're going to conclude with a saying that was adopted by a former Irish government as their campaign slogan for re-election, which is lots done, more to do. And we'd like to thank you for your attention to our presentation this evening.